GST if you earn over $75,000 a year. And once you are registered, you must charge GST on top of your usual price. It's not all bad news. If you're registered, you can claim back GST on your business expenses. So you will get some of the costs that you pay back. And in regards to lodging your BASs, generally people lodge them quarterly, and that'll just wash up how much GST collected you've on your sales, and how much GST you've paid on your expenses. And if you're a Hnry customer, we will take care of all your GST obligations as part of the regular service. If we could just switch over to the next slide. Actually, if we just maybe stop there. Does anyone actually have any questions at this point, or should I just keep going? We can ask them at the end. I'm going to take that as a no, which means I must be explaining things very, very well, which is good. So how to make the most out of your tax. David and my other colleagues like to call this playing the ATO lottery. I would prefer to call it being smart and claiming everything that the ATO is happy for you to claim. The generic rule for expenses is that you can claim the cost of any expense you incur in relation to earning your income. So we've listed a number of items here, which are common ones, and I'll go through them shortly, but that's what it's all based on, is any cost that you need to spend in order to run your business is generally an allowable deduction. So if we work through that, it's not listed here, but we just call it work expenses. So anything that you buy or do to perform your job as a massage therapist. So I'm thinking, you buy some towels, including dry cleaning those towels. If you need to wear a mask, if you need some oil, a massage table, those are all work expenses that you incur as part of being a massage therapist. So those are allowable deductions. And if we just work down this list for specific expenses, motor vehicle expenses, you can claim expenses for your motor vehicle to the extent that you use it for business purposes. So there's two primary options for this. One is the cents per kilometre method, which is nice, simple and easy. You can claim 72 cents per kilometre up to 5,000 kilometres. The only requirement is for you to record the distance travelled for work purposes. So you driving to... then there's the alternative is the logbook method, which is a little bit more complex and only really worth it if you drive a lot. So we say more than 5,000 kilometres, but under this method, you basically work out your business use, how much to use your car for business, how much to use for personal use, maintain a logbook, work out your percentage, and then you claim the actual petrol and maintenance cost of your car in proportion to your business use. The asset write-off, valuable tool if you're a sole trader. Normally you are required to capitalize assets and depreciate them over the life. As a sole trader, you can write that off straight away. So same as any business expense. So if you buy a phone or a laptop or even a car for business purposes, that will be an instant write-off, just like any other expense, rather than depreciation, which would normally be an expense over a certain amount of time. You can also claim deductions for your phone and internet bills. This includes, even if it's just under your personal name, you just need to work out, how much you use your phone or internet for work purposes and how much you use it for private purposes. If you work from home, you can claim expenses. So that also includes just laptop time. So if you just sit in a home office area and do your invoicing or emails or management of your services, that's working from home. Or if I'm not sure if you guys have clients coming into your house, but if they did come to your house and you had a table set up there, then that would be home office expenses as well. There are two main methods. One's the fixed rate method, which is if you have a dedicated work area, so a table with your laptop and a screen and a desk, you can claim 52 cents for each hour you work from home. And then, you're able to do that if you have a fixed working area from home. And then the alternative method is the actual cost method, which similar to the motor vehicles, it's more document heavy and less practical, but essentially you work out the area of your house that you work from. So if it's your little home office setup, or if you've got a massage table, and then you divide that by the total area of your house, and then you can claim your actual cost in proportion to that.
Cam, we've got some questions in the chat here just around toll expenses and what happens when if you change your car during the year, and if you have to get your car serviced or fixed. Do you have any insight into those?
A toll, as in like you're driving somewhere and you incur a toll. Yeah, if that trip is for business purposes, so you're driving to a client, then yep, that would be a business expense. In terms of what were the other costs? Sorry, Erin.
So the other one was just what happens if you change the car during the year. I think this might be in relation to the logbook potentially.
Oh, okay. So the logbook method it's basically a 12-week sample period. You log it for 12 weeks. You work out that you use it 40% for business, 40% is your rate, and you can actually use that rate for a number of years. I think it's actually 5. So if you change your car, it doesn't matter. What's important is how often you use that car for business, not what car it is.
Awesome. And I think the only other question in at the moment is about car servicing and any like fixing to cars, maintenance.
Yeah, similar concept. To the extent the car is used for business, you can claim costs in relation to the car, and that includes servicing, that includes maintenance, that includes registration, to the extent it's used for business. So if you use it 40% for business, 60% for private, you can claim 40% of those costs.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to take another drink of water.
Excuse me, can I go back for a question about the car? Because I use my car around 70-75% for work. I have to change my car because my ex-car had an issue. So I bought this year a car. So for example, my car cost me $17,000. I use my car for 70% of the job. What can I claim?
70%, or 70%.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, good news.
If you genuinely use it that much,
really, yeah.
then you can. There are a few things that you need to bear in mind. Is that sometimes, so in normal businesses, it probably doesn't apply so much to massage therapists. Normally, like I drive into work, and so me driving to work would not be business use. But from your perspective, you're actually driving from home to a client. So it's not like driving to the office, it's actually driving to the client's house. So that would be business use. But yeah, to the extent that car is used for business, your petrol, your maintenance, your servicing, and the cost of that car can be claimed in proportion to your business use.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
No worries. So I've got a tickle on the back of my throat. Does anyone else have any questions for now, or do you want me to move on?
Sorry, one more question, Cam. We've got one from Erica on whether you can claim the kilometers from the client's home back to your home or only on the way there.
Good question. Because what I'm trying to figure out in my head is, like I said, I drive to and from the office. That is private use. But then if I drove from my office to a client, then that would be business use. So I went to Bunnings or wherever I might go. From your perspective, I think you would be considered home-based businesses, which would mean that to and from home would be business use. That is my thinking. I might double check that and just send that through to Erin just so we can communicate that afterwards. But I think that would be, I think if you drive from your house to the client's house and from the client's house back to yours, I mean, you're driving there for business, so I don't see why that would be an issue.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll follow up with everyone on that.
But yeah, I'll double check that and just send that through to Erin. Can you claim home office electricity, etc.? Yes. So, like I said, I think that you guys would be what we call a home-based business. And yeah, I mean, like I said, to the extent that you work from home, so you have a dedicated work area and you sit there in your laptop and you email, you invoice, you manage, you plan your day. That area is for business use, and so that might be 5% of your home. You could claim 5% of your electricity and your internet bill and your telephone bill. Give it a minute, see if there's any more questions. Seems to be a few. But we can come back to these questions if more come up on the way, but I might just keep moving on so we can get to that Q&A time. So super contributions. There are broadly two ways that you can benefit from super. So one's a tax deduction. So if you personally make a contribution to your super scheme, you can get a deduction in your personal tax return for that. So what that looks like is, you would reduce your personal tax bill. The money obviously would go to the super fund. You fill out a form, and then the super fund will get made aware of that, and then they will sort out the tax from the super fund's point of view. But what's important to know is that it's beneficial because you get a deduction in your personal tax return, and the offsetting tax in the super funds at a lower rate. So it is beneficial. This needs to be done before the 30th of June. So if you want to get a deduction before the end of the year, make a contribution to your super fund. So this is separate to the contributions that your salary or wage, your employer might be paying you. And this is limited to $27,500 a year. So what happens is you pay the super fund, you submit what we call a notice of intent to claim. They'll receive it, send it back to you saying, yep, that's fine. And then you let your accountant know that you've done this, and then we would claim a deduction whilst preparing your tax return. The alternate is a thing called government super contributions. So the government will contribute up to $500 if you contribute $1,000. So they'll, you put in $1,000 to your super fund, they'll match that at 50%. You'll get $500 for free from the government. But this is only available if your income for the year is under $57,000. In terms of making super contributions, there is a feature in Hnry that you can set up an allocation. So you could ask for 2% of your pay after tax to go to your super fund, and we would set that up automatically. And we could also do other allocations if you wanted to put something to a savings account or something to paying off your car loan or whatever it may be. So you can set up allocations. Professional and membership fees. So if you incur costs to be a registered massage therapist, for example, those registration and membership fees are fully deductible. You can claim that. And lastly, uniform. So you can claim your uniform if it's occupation specific or branded with a logo. I'm not sure if there's occupation specific clothing for massage therapists, but I think there's a Blys t-shirt that maybe you guys might have that would be branded, so you could claim that. But just because you have to wear a white shirt and you buy a white shirt, unfortunately you can't claim those. Can we just look over to the next slide? I might pause for a second to see if anyone has any questions before we move on.
Matt, you've got a question there?
Hi, can you claim your massages or any other treatments similar, like chiro, physio, anything like that?
As in?
Like getting work done on your arms, your back, whatever it is related to your work.
And what's the purpose of that massage?
So you can continue working. Like some of us are on the verge of burnout. Our arms aren't
okay.
what they used to be.
So you're saying that you massage so much, your hands and your arms get sore, and so then you need to go get
Absolutely. Yep, just like any tradesman and his tools would have sharp tools. They got to go and they blunt after time, and then they have to get them resharpened or get some new tools. Us massage therapists, we have tools as well, but our main tools are our arms and our body. So
no, I completely understand that. I give my girlfriend a massage for 5 minutes and my thumbs get sore, so I don't know how you guys do it for a whole hour.
Like a car service.
Unfortunately, I mean, to be honest, no one's ever asked me that question before. My thinking is that probably not. Unfortunately, there's a pretty harsh concept that the ATO implies, which is like, you know, personal expenditure. The idea is it's supposed to be for business, and I know that you need it to keep your body moving or your car serviced, in the example someone else yelled at before. But I think the ATO would think that that's personal expenditure. Unfortunately, I mean, I can double check, but that's what comes to the top of my head.
yeah, no worries. Thank you very much.
You know, you can't, you know, your arms aren't business tools. You can't depreciate those, even if they are diminishing.
Yep, thank you.
Cool. Is there a few more questions in there, Erin?
Yeah, there was. I think there was just some about donations.
Yep. So donations.
Charitable donations, I believe. Perhaps?
Yeah. So donations to registered charities are deductible. You can claim those.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it needs to be a registered charity. It can't just be a, you know, your friend's good cause. That's not, you know, as long as it's for a registered charity, as in summary.
And Cam, we had a question the other day just about laundry expenses. Are these only deductible on, let's say, the Blys t-shirt that is the other thing that's deductible, or is it on any clothing that you need to wear to work?
I was actually talking to Danny about this earlier. My colleague, she said that because again, I've never thought about this. If you pay a laundry service to clean, like the towels, for example, you know, you use the towels to as part of the massage, then yep, I think that would be completely eligible as a deduction. In terms of the clothes, I'm not sure. I mean, again, I think that's a personal expense. You know, everyone needs to wash their clothes, right? Even me, as an accountant who works in an office, I need to wash my clothes. So I don't know. I don't think the clothes, but I think if you go to a laundromat and you pay to wash, you know, the towels or any equipment you use for the massage, but clothes that you wear, probably not.
Yes, sorry, that was oversight on me. Definitely the towels, probably not the clothes. We just have one more question from Kira about what about power and gas bills for washing towels? Is that the same as having it done in a laundromat as doing it at home?
Yes. So yes, it is. The laundromat's easy because it's a direct fee that you pay to wash the towels. Power and gas. So power, electricity is like a home office expense, right? Like you can claim it to the extent you have an office or a massage table. In terms of the power that you use when using your washing machine at home to wash towels, so you would be able to claim that. I don't know how you would calculate that. That's something I personally haven't had to do before. But if you could work out a reasonable basis to say that I use, I do, you know, 7 loads, like 4 loads of washing a week. 2 of them are my personal items. 2 are, you know, towels for massaging. Then hypothetically, half of your bill for the washing machine being used would be an expense. But I don't know how you calculate the power associated with using your washing machine relative to the rest of your house. But yes, conceptually, I'm just not sure what the calculation method will be off the top of my head, unfortunately.
No worries. All right, I think that's all the questions, Cam.
Oh, very good. We can move on from the tough questions. So common misconceptions. So, you know, there are a few misconceptions that people have about tax. So we thought we might just do a bit of myth busting. So expenses that are used for both personal and work use. Some people think you can claim all of it. Some people think you can claim none of it. The answer is somewhere in the middle. To the extent it's used for business, you can claim. To the extent it's not, you can't. So that's the same with the motor vehicle expenses, the phone, the internet, the power. If you use something partially for business, partially for personal use, you can claim it just in proportion to your business use. The next misconception is the ATO has more information than you think. They know your salary, they know your interests, they know your dividends. They even know if you have crypto tax. When we go to lodge someone's tax return, there's a big warning from the ATO saying we think this person owns crypto. Have they considered their crypto tax obligations? So the ATO does know what they're doing. Do not try outsmart them. Declare what you need to do. Claim what you're allowed to claim. But don't try to outsmart them is my advice. Not knowing when to sign up for GST, too late, too early. So when you earn over $75,000 per year, and that's from self-employment income. So if you have a salary for 40 grand and you earn 40 grand from self-employed income, that's not breaching the threshold. The threshold's for self-employment income only. And if you were to use Hnry, we'd track this for you and we would let you know when you are getting close to that threshold. Registering a company when you don't need to. I think there's a lot of misconceptions around registering companies for additional tax benefits. From a tax point of view, we don't really see it this way. You can get an ABN as a sole trader. You can claim 99% of the same deductions. So, if you are thinking of registering a company because you want to be a sole trader, that's great. But I just recommend doing your research because there are more compliance obligations. You probably have more fees in terms of using, accountants, and you have to file company tax returns, and even just trying to get money out of that business. The money you receive isn't yours; it's the company's. You have to find a way to pay it to yourself. And from a tax point of view, it generally doesn't provide much advantage. There are legal reasons why you might want to have a company, which is fine. But if you are thinking of setting up a company to be a sole trader, I just recommend doing your research. And just the last one, missing out on expenses that you don't know you can claim. A lot of you have had questions today around things that you can and can't claim and weren't sure about. There are lots of expenses you can claim in various different situations. I just recommend doing the research, looking at the ATO website. The ATO has lots of guidance around what you can and can't claim. They even have specific industry guidance. So, for example, if there's industry guidance on massage therapists, they would say that you can claim your laundry bill. And then, if you're a tradie, they'll say different things like you can claim your tools that you buy from Bunnings and things like that. So, being aware of what you can claim is the best way to manage your taxes from a smart and savvy point of view. So I would recommend doing your research. And again, Hnry helps with that. I field about 15 to 20 questions a day from different people saying, can I claim this? Can I claim that? And I just have to go through and say yes, no, maybe, depends. Just whatever the answer may be.
We've just got a couple of questions here about being paid cash in hand for some clients and whether that cash needs to be claimed. Have I read that right? If I get paid cash in hand on some clients, do I still claim?
Do you declare it? Yes, you do declare it.
It's to declare, yeah.
Yeah, receiving something in cash is the same as a bank transfer. It's the same as a payment from a company. Cash. Cash slips the tax net. It's hard to track. That's why people call them cashies. But technically, a cashie isn't a reason not to pay tax. It's just a way that so I said before, the ATO has more information than you think. They probably don't know about the odd cashie, but that's not my professional advice. But yeah, technically, cash you receive from for jobs as a sole trader is taxable income. So if you did want to, manage the tax for that and track it, you could put it through your Hnry account, for example, and would pay tax on that, or you could just track it and tell your accountant at the end of the year or when you file your tax return. But that is actually the end of our presentation. We have left a bit of time for Q&A, so I hope there's more questions to be asked and they haven't all been done throughout. But here to help, really keen to hear what questions you have, even if it's just a broad one or you want to have a discussion about something, fire them through or put your hand up and feel free to jump off mute. How to insert our invoices So is that from using Henry or in general, Kidda? While you respond to that, can we claim the tax agent fee? Yes, so you can. So if you pay a tax agent to prepare your tax return, like Henry or anyone, then yep, you can claim that as an expense. You can also claim the Blys fee as an expense. Technically, we don't claim that through Henry because the Blys fee is already taken out before you receive it, so effectively you do get a deduction. But the expense that you pay for Blys's services or Henry services or any other accountant is an allowable expense.
Awesome.
I have a question. I have the one ABN and I do Blys and like a few other things, but use the same ABN for all of them. So I also do gardening, sometimes Sheba driving and facilitator self-empowerment training course. So I have income from all different streams. And what was the question there? Oh, just with that, do you guys work with that as well? Like in terms of,
yeah,
I'm not employed by, I'm all a sole trader totally.
Yeah, no, so from our point of view, that doesn't really matter if you're getting paid by 4 people. One of them's paying you for gardening, one of them's paying you for a massage, one of them's paying you to build a house. It's all self-employment income. So we're happy for that to all come through. I mean, we'll say if it's a different employment type, and we might summarize it from a different client, but that's not really an issue from our point of view. Or just in general from an ABN, you can just quote the same ABN. You don't need to register different companies, or you're not a sole trader as a massage therapist and a separate sole trader for gardening services. You're just a sole trader.
Thanks.
We've got a question, Cam, about whether working with Henry, if every Blys income is already in your system and license fee from Blys that we can claim.
So if you use Blys and Henry, what we would do is Blys, instead of paying your bank account, would pay a bank account that Henry would set up for you. We would receive the payment and we would work out the tax on that payment. We'd pay it to the ATO straight away, and then you would receive your payment from Blys through us after tax. In terms of the license fee from Blys, that would be claimed automatically by us because Blys would take that away. We would receive the payment after your fee, after Blys's fee. And so by only putting in, if you receive $100 from Blys and the fee is $5, we would only receive $95, and that $95 would be declared as income, which effectively claims the deduction because we're not recording at 100 and then claiming the 5. We've already done that by just taking the 95. And then we would just work out your tax on 95 and would pay you whatever your after-tax income should be.
So sorry, so it means that for this year, if we work with you from this year, it wouldn't be possible. It's gonna be for next year, you mean?
I mean, you can sign up to us whenever you want.
No, of course.
And just quietly, maybe don't tell my boss this, but if you sign up before the end of the financial year, your June 22 tax return would be covered, and we would prepare that for you. So, but yeah, so if you sign up to Henry, we would calculate that as we go. If you sign up like now, for example, we would just have to ask you to provide us the information from the 1st of July to date, because we don't have that. But going forward, we would just organically receive the information because we receive the payments, you submit the expenses, and we should have all your self-employment income. And when we become your tax agent, we can access the ATO for you, so we can see if you have a salary, if someone's paid you your salary with PAYG, we can see your interest, we can see any dividends, we can see a lot of information through the ATO.
Thank you.
Can we claim professional insurance and tax? Yes. Like I said, insurance for business purposes. I'm assuming that's not included as part of your home and contents or your car, or whatever insurance it is. But yeah, if it's an insurance policy, for income protection or whatever the insurance might be, it's directly related to your business, you can 100% claim that. How much are the fees for Henry? Henry charges a 1% fee on income you receive. So if you receive $50,000 a year in self-employment income, we would charge you $500, and that would get you the full service. That gets you questions to me, that gets you tax paid to the ATO live, that gets you your BAS return done, that gets your income tax return at the end of the year done as well. So 1%. If you're in 100 grand, it'll be $1,000. If you're in 150 grand, it'll be 1,500, and that's the cap. So if you're in $1 million, you'd stop paying us fees after you pay us $1,500.
And can we have a partnership where I believe it's $25 off that annual fee?
Yeah,
Have I got
that's
that
right.
correct?
Yeah, I think it's a credit that you get for using the Blys sign-up code, which would mean that for the first $2,500 you receive through Henry, you wouldn't be paying us fees, and then you start paying fees on income on top of that. So if you earned $3,000 through Henry permanently, you would pay us $5.
Yeah, $3,000 through Blys. Yeah, and then $5.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's not a subscription for Henry. It's a pay-as-you-go fee that gets taken out when you get paid through Henry. From Erica, what are the fees for one sole trader with all other businesses under one ABN? So I'm assuming, Erica, you're referring to your scenario before where you're a
Yes.
so it's the same. It's if you earned 20 grand from 4 different sole trader businesses, so you earn 80 grand, your fee to us would be $800 for the year.
Cool. And I have another question in terms of GST, because I do my own BAS statements and lodge them online.
Yeah.
Is that included in that fee, or if you wanted someone to take over your BAS statements, that's a separate thing?
No, it's an all-inclusive service. So actually, once you're in Henry, you're in Henry. That's why I said if you sign up before the end of the year, we'll do your June 22 tax return, because once you're in, you're in. But again, don't tell my boss I said that, because he probably wouldn't be happy, because we've got a busy tax time coming up. But effectively, yeah. So if you sign up tonight, Erica, we would do your June quarterly BAS for you, and we would do your June year-end tax return. The first quarterly BAS would be quite confusing, because you're effectively providing us that information. You would tell us what's happened in the last quarter, and then we would lodge that for you. And then for the next quarter, if you're there for the full quarter, Henry would just know everything. Henry would know how much income you've received, how much GST has been withheld, and how much GST you've paid on the invoices you've submitted. And we just automatically do that. And we'll just email you and say it's been done.
Oh, sweet. Because usually you pay extra fee for you know, someone. That's why I do it myself.
Yeah, no, not through Henry. We're an all-inclusive service, so just 1% of payments you receive, and you get me, you get another chartered accountant, you get your BASs done, your income tax return, and payments withheld at source. It really is a good service, if I don't say so myself. But
Yeah. Sorry, is that unlimited, like, questions to ask as well throughout the year, so you don't charge for phone calls and I mean, not that I really ring that much, but yeah, I'm paying a lot for my current account, like $440 for a tax return, but I do my own GST and stuff. But
no, so it's a complete fixed fee service, which again is just that 1%. I mean, we don't charge extra if you want to message us every day. Your messages might be responded to in a slightly slower manner than everyone else. But no, it's like I said, I've had 5 phone calls in the last 2 weeks with the same customer who's just struggling to understand a few concepts. And we don't charge extra for the additional care that some people need. Your BASs, your income tax returns, it's all included. Just one simple fee structure. The only time we would charge an extra fee, which would be agreed upon in advance, is if you wanted something to be done, which it was for a period before you're a Henry customer. So if you signed up on the 1st of July and you wanted us to do June 22 BAS or income tax return, that would technically be before you're a Hnry customer. So we would charge you a small one-off fee to do those. But once you're a customer, yeah, from the 1st of July, anything from the 1st of July onwards would be covered. Yeah.
Great.
Any other questions from anyone? Sounds like everyone's bored of hearing me talk.
Well, I can pop in this link into the chat. So if anyone is interested in asking any more questions to Cam or David or anyone at Hnry, you can pop in your name and mobile number and email address, and they'll get back to you ASAP, I think, as soon as they can. So yeah, definitely, if you do have more questions, you can ask them now or send them through. But yeah, is there anything else from anybody?
David, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I just want to thank Blys for the opportunity to be able to speak to you all. And probably, Erica, to your point, you've got a really interesting example. The main, I think, point as well is if you stop earning as a sole trader, we stop taking fees as well. So the benefit is the more you earn, obviously that 1% just rolls with it, capped at 1,500. But if you stop for some reason, and it's to all of you, if you stop working on the side, the fees stop as well. And there's an invoicing feature for that gardening opportunity, or someone like Uber or Blys will just pay straight into the account. So again, from what I said at the start, is the service is built around contractors. It's a very complicated space. You don't need MYOB software. You don't need Xero software. It wraps it all up in as one cost. So you can put aside bookkeeper fees and so forth and focus on doing what you guys love, which is as practitioners and taking more sessions with clients. So thank you, Erin, and thank you to Blys for the opportunity.
No, my pleasure. Thank you to everyone who showed up. This is such a great turnout, and really hope it was useful for everyone.
Thank you. Very much appreciated, everyone.
Pleasure, Erica. Yes, I'll send out this recording to everyone tomorrow morning as well. And if there's anyone that isn't a member of Blys, just get in touch via that Eventbrite link, and I can reach out with the recording as well, or connect you with whoever you'd like.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone. Have a nice night.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.